What's something crazy you can tell us about Disney?
Joe, I know a secret about Disney that will send shivers down your spine. When I was an intern in the Imagineering department, I was assigned to work on upgrades to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. As one of the park's oldest attractions, Pirates was in dire need of modernization. One day, my boss told me I would need to polish the ride's dozens of fake pirate skeletons. He gave me access to a database that housed each skeleton prop's purchase receipt and the materials needed for its maintenance, along with other key info. But there was one problem. No matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find the receipt for one particular skeleton. This skeleton was in the center of one of the ride's most gripping scenes, where a pirate's skeleton is pressed against a wall as a sword penetrates its ribs. I immediately notified my boss of the missing data, but he snapped back at me, saying it was just an input error and that I shouldn't worry about it. His tone was oddly defensive, which made me get quite suspicious. A week later, we went back into the ride to make our repairs, and I managed to sneak off into the scene with the suspicious skeleton. Upon first glance, it seemed like any other of the ride's fake skeletons. But when I lifted its foot and glanced at the sole, I saw a sentence carved into the bone. The carving read, "RMD, may you never leave." While I didn't know what exactly this meant or who RMD was, it was clear that this skeleton wasn't an ordinary prop. The next day, I went to the Anaheim Archive Center and tore through every old phone book I could find, looking for someone with the initials RMD. After an exhausting 6-hour search, I found my answer. According to the archives, RMD, or Robert Matthew Davis, was a high-ranking Disney executive in the 1960s who was a close confidant of Walt. But in 1964, Walt alleged that RMD slept with his wife while he was in Orlando at a business meeting. RMD denied it, but Walt was indignant. Well, coincidentally, just weeks after the falling out, RMD passed away in a car accident in LA. According to RMD's surviving family members, who I interviewed, Walt attended the funeral and pretended to be cordial, but he had revenge on his mind. Right before the opening of the Pirates ride, Walt had his private security team sneak to the Anaheim City Cemetery at night and exhume RMD's body. Walt then put the body into a decomposition chamber and carved it into a skeleton. As a final aside, Walt thrust a sword into the skeleton's ribcage and placed him on display in one of the ride's most visible scenes. It was an act of vengeance bolder than any I had ever heard about. To this day, I can't go to Disneyland without my stomach curling. Millions of children go on the Pirates ride every year, without knowing they are staring at the real human remains of one of Walt Disney's biggest enemies.